You wouldn't want one of these to break for some reason if your car is extremely rusty. Oh my God, that one was loose. Oh my God, I bet you that's why this was leaking the entire time. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Joe's Garage. We're gonna be working on the Mark IV Supra again, and I'm super excited because we're doing some mechanical work on the car today. If you watched my previous video, you know that I replaced the A-pillar that was broken, and I polished the instrument cluster for the speedometer, tach, and fuel gauge. That came out great, so I'm super excited to do some of this mechanical work. I have a brand new drive axle directly from Toyota. It's a genuine part right here in the box. We're gonna be getting this thing up in the air, removing the bad drive axle, and then popping this one in. Toyotas happen to be one of the easiest cars to work with, so I'm super excited to see how this 90s Supra comes apart. Let's get this thing up in the air and see how we can get this axle off. Now that we're under the car, I'm going to show you exactly why we're replacing this drive axle, and it's because it is leaking right here. You can see the grease, and it's throwing grease all over the car. It's not devastating that the grease is being slung everywhere, but after this runs dry, it has a chance for failure, and that's something we really just absolutely do not want while he's out driving or anywhere in general. We just don't want to have any issues with this, so I think it's better that we just replace this now. I'm not certain how this works, but there's like a hockey puck here, and that attaches to the differential by a plate with these Allen bolts. So we're gonna break all this down, remove it from the hub side, and I believe the axle comes out this way. Really quickly though, I wanna show you guys this right here on the new axle before we get started. So this is what I was referring to right here. It seems like it's this hockey puck and it's all in the boot. So this is sealed tight, and it must have broke its seal right here at one of the bolts. But this will kind of come in and meet that plate and set into that plate on the differential, and we'll run the Allen bolts through here. There's a little like key piece that comes around it, and that is pretty self-explanatory. I'm thinking along the lines, whatever seals this up broke, and that's why that grease is coming out of this axle. It's not a boot rip, but it's this seal here that is leaking. But let's just get right to work. All right, so we have the wheel up in the air just high enough to get it off. I am going to be extremely careful while working on this, especially with the wheel and all the suspension pieces. I would hate to damage anything. And look at this wheel. It is legitimately a piece of art right here. I just want to be very careful when I take this apart. We'll set these aside for now, and now we're going to be really careful removing this tire. Holy smokes, it's so much lighter than I thought. I just wanted to point out quickly how wide that tire is. It's incredible. But these rims are beautiful. I love them, and they really complement the Supra. So generally, removing axles, you need to move the hub in a way that you're able to remove the axle from this side, from the hub assembly side. But I think we're gonna be able to sneak away with only breaking the nut free, removing the nut, and then removing that side of the axle where it meets the differential, because these axles do like to, I'll show you the motion really quick. There is a little bit of room to compress them. So I think if we remove the inside, and I'll just show you on the new one really quick, after we get the axle nut off this side, okay, so it's free to come out this way, that might come in enough where I can bring that down and pull the axle out this way. The first thing we're gonna do is remove this spacer, set it aside. With some needle nose, we'll go ahead and bend this cotter pin around. Cotter pin's out. Go ahead and remove this guy. And now we can zip off the axle nut. 32 millimeter axle nut. See if the snap-on can break it free for us. That's what you use the snap-on for. So generally, while I hammer on these axles, I like to keep this nut threaded on there a little bit so that you don't beat up the threads of the axle. Now, I don't necessarily need to do that for this one because we're going to be replacing it, but for the sake of keeping things safe, just in case we ever do need this axle for some reason. All right, and that's pretty much all it'll go, I think. But you can see, I don't have the opposite side detached, and it's compressing, so I only need a little bit of room to get this thing out of here. And this is a brass hammer, so we're not hurting anything anyway while we hit it. I don't advise you to do that at home. So before I go ahead and get that even more pushed in, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect it from the differential side of things and see if we're able to use that, like I said, that little bit of clearance to drop the inside down, because if the inside will come down, we might be able to just slide this thing right out through the inside, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. We've got a 10mm Allen key. We'll see if we can just break these free. I'm guessing it's not gonna be too bad. You wanna just be very careful with this, because if this was to strip out, it would be very difficult to get these removed. I don't love the Allen style, but yeah, you just wanna be very careful doing this job. You wouldn't want one of these to break for some reason if your car is extremely rusty. Oh my God, that one was loose. Oh my God, I bet you that's why this was leaking the entire time. That's insane. I bet you that's why it was leaking, because it just wasn't torqued down. So I'm just gonna continue on working. I'm not too held up by that. Let's go ahead and break these other two and see how they act. The new GoPro has a front-facing camera on it, so I can see what I'm working with here from the front of the camera, which is really helpful. Let's see if we can just break this one free. Ooh, this one's tight. Wow, this one's really tight. It's a little scary. Now, let it be known, if this one was stripped, it definitely wasn't from me. I'll be really stressed out if it is. Oh, thank goodness. I was really worried about that, guys. Okay, then we just got this last one up here. And I will tap this one with the hammer just to be careful. I want to make sure that's as deep as it can be. I don't know if my wrench is going to fit this one though. Maybe you have to get an extension on it. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. Nice. All right, so there we go. We got them all broken free. Let's go ahead and use the auto wrench and see if we can get these off. Okay, and that has half the clip on it. There's actually two clips. I thought it was one, no big deal. And you can see half the clip, and this thing is covered in grease. And I'm actually gonna put those bolts back the way they came out, just so I have them in the proper place. I know that the stripped one was the one that came down on this bottom side. And let's get these lower three now. 1, 2, 3. All right, nice. Those came out pretty good. What I'm curious is if I push this back a little bit, if I'm able to get some space here and bring it out from where it meets the differential. If that's the case, it'll be really good, because then we're able to slide this out and probably bring it out from the bottom. There's where it meets the hub. Here's where it meets the differential. We just need a little space so this hockey puck will come down from where it's seated and then bring it out. Now I know that I could remove this bar, it's just a couple 12mm, but I'm not sure that I have to quite yet, so we're gonna wait on that. So we're just gonna play with it for a minute and see if I can get it by hand, and then I'll try and find some other way if I can't. It does seem pretty tight in there if you ask me. Oh, Jesus. All right, yeah, it came right out actually. no big deal. Once it broke free there, it came right out. I think this is what I was discussing with you guys, is if I'm able to clear this axle's gonna come right out. I don't even think I need to play with anything else. Honestly, if this comes out, this is the easiest axle I've ever replaced. Okay, so what I need to do is go around on the hub side and give it a couple love taps. Once that breaks free, it'll come right out. I think that was about it. I don't want the thing to go flying. Just be careful. Oh yeah, that's good. That's great. Wow, what an easy axle to swap. I mean, that's insane. Let's go ahead and roll this bad boy out of here so we can take a better look at it next to the new one. I do want to look at where it was leaking. There's no visual sign of why it was leaking other than this has like a sort of seal. It's like it just needed to be closed. It just wasn't closed quite so good because it wasn't torqued. I mean, you guys saw me. There was zero effort on that bolt to break it free. I don't know why they didn't torque it down the right way. Or maybe they did. Things happen like that all the time. So I don't think this axle's bad necessarily. But because we have a brand new axle from Toyota in the box, clean as a whistle, we're gonna be swapping them. We'll just compare the two, make sure they look the exact same. So at first glance, they are perfectly matched. I expect them to be perfect. Yeah, they look good. Everything looks about the same. The threads look the same here. The way the axle lines into the hub looks the same. Genuine parts, Toyota, Lexus. This was not cheap. This was the last one. I believe he told me this was the last one in the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you can find 1,000 of these axles, make sure to let me know in the comment section. But here we have it, brand new axle. I'm excited to get it installed. All right, so do me a favor, guys. If you're enjoying this video and it is helpful to you in any way, make sure to give me a thumbs up. I'm really working on getting more exposure to my videos. I've never really had a video take off and do more than like 1,000 views at a rapid pace. So if one of my videos could hit like 10,000 views, that'd be incredible. So let's try and make that happen together. Share this video, make sure to leave me a comment. If you like the Supra, let me know about it. But yeah, definitely give me a thumbs up if you're watching this and you're enjoying it. If you think I'm doing a good job, I'd really appreciate that. But without talking too much, guys, let's just get right back into installing this new axle, getting this job finished, and then being pretty much done with the Supra for now. Okie dokie, so we're down here under the car. We have the new axle with us right here, and we're gonna attempt to slide this guy in here, just like we removed the other one. So I'll get you guys at the right angle, and we'll just go for it. Kind of like I said, tough to see when I'm in the way. Alright, but we're in. It's where it belongs. Now let's see if we can get it in its home. There we go. There we go. Hopefully you guys could see that. Let's get this lined up. Oh, I'm gonna have to undo the e-brake so I can rotate that hub, because I was just off a little bit with the spindles. There we go. Just want to get one started. This way, I know it's lined up. Off a hair, it looks like. There we go. Very good. All right, there we go. those are all pretty snugged on, and I'm happy with it. All right, let's head out from underneath the car and see if we can get the axle nut on and then put everything back together. All right, so here we are with the new axle installed. First thing we need to do is put the axle nut back on. So make sure it threads on nice and easy, which it looks like it has no issues. Now we need to torque that to 230 foot-pounds. I've got my snap-on torque wrench, and we're gonna go for it. There we go. All right, now we got the castle for the nut. Get this cotter pin in there. Go ahead and bend that up. Make it so we can grab it if we need to do this again in the future. That looks good. All right, so now we need to go back underneath the car, torque the Allen bolts down to where the axle meets the differential. And then this job is pretty much finished off, and it was not bad at all. It was really, really straightforward. I'm glad to have this finished up. Let's get underneath this thing and tighten those bolts up. All right, so thanks to a fellow YouTuber, we did find the torque specs for these Allen bolts to the diff, which is 58 foot-pounds. All right, so let's go ahead and give a few a go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we got to get these back too, which are kind of difficult if you guys remember. I'll try and get the camera up there again. Oh, very good. Nice, we just have one last one. That's this one right up here. Okay, that's definitely it. We'll just go around and make sure they're all snug with that click. Okay, now I just want to make sure the wrench doesn't turn while it clicks. We're all set under here. I think we can go ahead and install the wheel and finish it up. All right, so the axle's installed and everything's back together. The very last thing we have to do is put the wheel on. So we're gonna go ahead and reinstall this spacer right here. Oh yeah. Try and line it up here. Very nice. I'll go ahead and hand thread these in and I'll torque them down. All set. Okay, so right off the internet, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but it says Mark IV Supras from 93 to 98. It'll be 101 foot-pounds, which seems pretty tight, but we're gonna go for it. Let's just do a quick check to confirm, and we're gonna use a second wrench to really make sure that we're accurate here. That was my snap-on wrench. We're gonna go ahead and use my Craftsman just to make sure. All right, and that's all set. All right, so that is a wrap on installing the drive axle for the Mark IV Supra. It went really well. This car is a pleasure to work on, and if you want to go ahead and attempt this yourself, I'd say it's going to be an easy job for you. If you have the right tools, take your time, torque everything down to spec, and you'll be fine. Toyotas are a great car to work on, and I'm just super happy that I got to work on it. This is gonna be the last video for the Supra for a little while. We have some content planned for this car in the future, but it's gonna be leaving my shop now, and it's gonna make everything a lot easier for me to work on my 2.5 RS. I'll be 100% honest, guys, when this was in the shop, I was very careful around the car because of how nice it is, and you know, anything I did on my car would just create such a mess.
and when I was working outside, it just happened to be like one of the rainiest stints of time. So next week we're gonna be returning to Supra Saturdays, and I'm super excited to get back on the 2.5 RS. If you guys have hung into the channel this far through the Supra series, thank you so much. I know a lot of you guys really support the 2.5 RS build, and we're gonna be getting right back to it, so make sure to stay tuned. And if you enjoyed this video, like I said before, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Leave any comments in the section below if you have any questions. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Supra and how this video went. But for now, I'll be catching you guys in the next video. Thanks again, and peace out.